help lower A1C. It could help you lose up to 10 pounds. And it's only taken once a week, so it can fit into your busy life. Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. It isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. It's not approved for use in children. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it. You or your family have medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, which can lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems. The choices you make can help control your A1C. Ask your doctor about once weekly Trulicity.
You founded your kayak company because you love the ocean, not spreadsheets. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
This is the story of Elizabeth Holmes.
And you got intrigued to see fantasy.
Can't peel your eyes away.
Now, as Elizabeth Holmes awaits sentencing, what you haven't heard.
I was blown away.
The new 2020 Friday night on ABC.
And before we go tonight, the powerful images here at the border as more than 1 million Ukrainian refugees leave, 500,000 of them children. A child looking from a train window, leaving the station in Lviv, heading for a town near the border with Slovakia. A young boy sleeping on his family's belongings after arriving in Hungary. And in Kyiv, a kiss goodbye as a woman boards a train, so many staying behind to fight. I'll see you tomorrow night right back here for the news, and then our special at 8 p.m. Eastern. Until then, good night.
You see the look on his face? Hilarious.
I know how you feel. Because
Don't take for granted that you're safe because of possibly where you live.
Now at 6, a few shootings in Salt Lake County just in the past 24 hours. Reaction from neighbors who are growing concerned.
Our housing needs are growing very, very fast.
Plus, a new study showing rent increasing in Salt Lake City. With the housing crunch in Utah, what advice experts have for renters. And in tonight's Justice Files, a 2018 cold case could be one step closer to being solved. The victim's wife claims she knows who killed her husband.
live, we're there for you. ABC 4 News at 6 starts now.
Good evening. I'm Emily Clark in for Emily Flores.
And I'm Glenn Mills. Thanks so much for joining us. We do begin tonight with a shocking number of reported shootings in Salt Lake County in a short amount of time. Police investigating a home shooting in West Valley City. Officers say more than 20 shots were fired using different types of guns, but police say they're still investigating what led up to the shootout. And in South Salt Lake, 2 men allegedly shot up a half-dozen cars in a parking lot. Officers saying this was all over a fight about an eviction notice. Fortunately, no one was hurt. And then another shooting just reported in a South Jordan neighborhood. ABC4's Jordan Burroughs live in Salt Lake City tonight to break down these shootings and how you can stay safe from this rise in gun crimes. Jordan.
Glenn, the data is very telling. The FBI data, that is, shows that from 2019 to 2020, the murder rate rose 30%. And in that same span from 2019 to 2020 in Salt Lake County, gun-related deaths rose 16%. And police are telling me they attribute much of this to people leaving loaded guns inside their cars.
Why is this a necessary thing for you to do?
South Jordan community members caught this gunshot on camera, waking them up around 4:30 in the morning.
Any place is vulnerable to crime.
No city is immune to gun crime. This is coming from Sergeant Melody Cutler with the Unified Police Department. She spent her whole career in law enforcement. The alleged drive-by wasn't the only shooting around Salt Lake County Thursday morning.
One of the biggest things that we have seen increase over the last year or so is firearms being stolen out of vehicles.
Several rounds were fired from inside and outside of this home in West Valley on West San Carlos Drive, according to police. The home is littered with bullet holes.
It is imperative that we are keeping our firearms safe. And when I say that, I mean locked up.
Ralph Haddock says he keeps his firearms safe by locking them up.
It's concerning, mostly because you're not really sure what you can do about it.
He says he'd want to question the person who fired this shot.
Was it money? Was it something else? somebody in my house made you angry or what?
The video came from his house. However, the gun was fired at his neighbor's home, where police found the shell casing. You can hear the neighbor yell, and Haddock tells us his neighbor and his dog scared off what they say are possible carjackers. Haddock says he's never seen this happen outside his South Jordan home.
Don't take for granted that you're safe because of possibly where you live. I mean, the reality is we just don't know.
Sergeant Cutler says do not ever leave a loaded gun inside your vehicle. Even more, she says don't ever even leave a gun inside your vehicle unless it is inside a lockbox. She says it's just too easy for criminals to break that window and get access to the gun. Reporting live in Salt Lake City, Jordan Burroughs, ABC 4 News.
Okay, Jordan, thank you very much. Overseas, reports of Russian attacks on civilian targets in Ukraine increasing today, along with the death toll. However, a little good news after a second round of talks between the Russians and Ukrainians, announcing that both sides agreed to open humanitarian corridors for Ukrainian citizens to leave safely. Ukrainian President Zelensky also speaking today about his contact with America's President Joe Biden.
We have good contact. I can tell you the truth. And it's a pity that it began after the beginning of this war.
President Zelensky also pleading with the U.S. and the European Union to enforce the no-fly zone over Ukraine. But the White House says that that would require direct combat, which is a step they are simply not willing to take right now.
Here in Utah, some of the images coming out of the Russia-Ukraine war hitting close to home, especially for one professor at Utah State University. Dr. Anna Pechinkina says there are many possible outcomes for this war, but one thing is certain to her: Russia will eventually have to realize it needs to cut back on its demands. She also says it's crucial for other countries, including the U.S., to use caution in how they help Ukraine.
Prudent to draw that line, that assistance in terms of equipment and perhaps some financial aid will occur for Ukraine, but no troops will be on the ground. That to me seems like the wise decision.
Dr. Pechinkina believes as the war comes to an end, sanctions and restrictions placed on Russia should be well thought out and be used to help Russia improve.
Okay, those of us who've been here for quite a while in the state of Utah know that this happens every winter. We get near the end, it gets really lovely. We think, oh, spring is here, and then
the big punch comes and hits us right in the face, right, Alana?
I feel like, I hope it's not a punch, because I'm trying to give you a heads up, but yes, we know that that's not the case. It is still winter, and today it did not feel like it. We had a mix of sun and clouds, that sun going down behind the Oakers tonight, but it was extremely mild. We tied the record in Salt Lake, hitting 71 degrees. Spring-like warmth, spring fever settling in for a lot of folks. It was 20 degrees warmer than normal. It also ties the record for the earliest 70-plus day on record in Salt Lake, so this is a big day, and it is very, very mild. Even as we head into tonight, we're holding on to those mild conditions with upper 60s in Salt Lake. We've got 60s in Ogden, 50s now in Provo, 50 in Logan, and low 70s in St. George. That southerly flow brings in warmer air, and as you look at the satellite radar, it also transported that mid and upper level moisture in the way of cloud cover throughout the state. You see how that cloud cover is moving from south to north, and that's as the system approaches. And so that warmth, yes, it doesn't stick around. We've had a pretty mild week, but colder air is moving in. It also comes with the potential for wet weather. I've got the timeline and the impacts for your end of the week and weekend coming up in my full forecast. Glenn, Emily, over to you.
Alana, thank you very much. Now to the housing crunch. Rental prices in Salt Lake continue to rise. A recent report showing that Salt Lake outpacing the national average. Nick McGurk explains.
So let's talk about median rental prices. More than $1,100 for a one-bedroom in Salt Lake. More than $1,400 for a two-bedroom right now.
It's just wild where it's at now. Salt Lake's cool, man.
Salt Lake City might be cool, but its rental market is hot.
It was just time to kind of like move away from Salt Lake.
Thomas Drought was renting in Salt Lake, but he left for Sandy last year. He says it stopped making financial sense to rent an apartment here. In the last 2 years, in fact, since the pandemic started, Salt Lake City rents rose by 22.3%.
Seeing 20% price increases is quite staggering.
Rob Warnock is a researcher with Apartment List.
We're seeing rent prices going up pretty much everywhere.
But of all the cities they track, he says, Salt Lake rental prices went up about 1.5 points last month. It's the fastest growing market in Utah and higher, he says, than the national average.
Rents are going up and will continue to go up for some time.
Paul Smith is executive director of the Utah Apartment Association, and right now supply is just nowhere close to demand, he says. We're some 50,000 units short in Utah.
We need cities to allow more construction. We need developers to put more money into building housing. And that's the only thing that's going to bring rent growth down.
Speaking of the only thing, here's just about the only thing he says renters can do right now.
I would encourage renters to lock yourself in long-term leases, negotiate that you'll stay longer in exchange for a guaranteed rent rate because rents are just going to continue to go up.
Certainly a strategy you can try. You might be successful. Obviously, you might not. Let's talk about a recent congressional report. It states that Mountain West states like Utah facing the highest inflation rates in the country. Now, this study is saying that more than $500 in home costs have been added year over year for families in Utah. So a lot to talk about with rental prices and inflation. In Salt Lake, I'm Nick McGurk, ABC4 News.
Still ahead on tonight's Justice Files, investigators could be one step closer to finding a killer. Why a recent parole hearing could be the key.
SureHome.com. Taco time got you feeling like a craving lunatic? Can't explain your need for crispy, zesty? Can't remember my name until I get my hands on a Taco Time fish taco? You're not alone. When you know what you want, anytime is taco time.
Life with kids is full of fun and unexpected scrapes and bumps and bruises and, well, you get the picture. With Medicaid and CHIP, you can keep your adventurers on course and full speed ahead. With medical, dental, and behavioral health care coverage, you will have peace of mind knowing that whatever happens, your kids and teens are covered. Learn more about this free or low-cost health insurance and apply today at coveringkids.health.utah.gov. Give your kids the protection they need and deserve.
Okay, Floor & Decor, show me what you've got. This house says spa day all day, but this modern look is so me. How's that for on trend and on budget?
At Floor & Decor, with our high-quality selection at everyday low prices, your upgrade has never been more you. Explore Floor & Decor today.
Hi, welcome to the #1 Volkswagen dealer in the nation. Strong Volkswagen. Well, hello, laddie. Oh, I've got this friend. He says your lifetime warranty only covers $2,500. Wow, that's not correct at all. At Strong, each claim is covered for 100% of your purchase price. Your engine and entire drivetrain is covered for life, no charge. Plus paint, dent, and glass repair, even car washes. For life, no charge. Strong Volkswagen. Get details and unlock stronger pricing at strongvw.com.
Go see Strong, go see Strong, go see Strong.
A World War dancer. Angry puppeteer. A terrible charades player. Oh! Saying no to underage drinking because it protects my developing brain.
If you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner, our free furnace sale is a win-win. If you're willing to help us keep our guys busy by replacing your system now while we're a little slower, we're willing to help you out with a great deal. Right now, when you have any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it, about $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. Now, this is a limited time offer, so don't hesitate. Call Any Hour Services and schedule your free estimate today. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Taco time got you feeling like a craving lunatic? Can't explain your need for crispy, zesty? Can't remember my name until I get my hands on a Taco Time fish taco? You're not alone. When you know what you want, anytime is taco time.
Nearly 4 years later and still no arrest for the murder of Reed Christensen. He was found shot to death in his North Salt Lake home. This was back in 2018. At first, police thought it was his wife and even arrested her.
But she was never charged and claims that she knows who did it. For every crime, there's a story and the truth matters. Here's ABC4 senior crime and punishment correspondent Marcos Ortiz with tonight's Justice Files.
Cynthia Christensen is in prison. She pleaded guilty to obstruction of justice following the murder of her husband. At a recent parole hearing, she claims to know 3 people that killed her husband.
This is kind of embarrassing to say, but she was my drug dealer. He was her fiance. He was somebody that lived at their house that was also a heroin addict.
The 3 are accused of murdering Reed Christensen at his home in North Salt Lake, but they've never been arrested. Christensen's wife, Cynthia, is making that claim. She actually was arrested for his murder, but those charges never materialized. Instead, she pleaded guilty to obstructing justice and was sent to prison. At a recent parole hearing, Christensen denied murdering her husband and blamed the three people.
Then I told him what I told you, what had happened the night before. And I thought they were my friends. I mean, I did a lot of stuff for their kids and for them to help them out. I know they were my drug dealers.
But they told police she came to them after the murder and confessed. She allegedly told them there was an argument and she shot him and discussed her alibi with them. She claimed the man who made that statement lied to police and were after money.
He probably came up to the house looking for money because I owed him some money. But then there were several things missing from my house after I went back to it. There were several things missing from my house, including my mom's wedding ring.
It's your suspicion that Mr. over a $500 debt went to your house to collect it, possibly with some other individuals, didn't find you there, and then just decided to kill your husband?
No, he probably came in and my husband probably got angry with him or something. And I think that they got into a fight and that shot him.
North Salt Lake police claim the trio were investigated, but don't believe they murdered Christensen. In a statement, a spokesman said, "We got the right person," meaning Cynthia Christensen, but apparently they couldn't prove it. In a statement by the Davis County attorney, he claimed, "The entirety of this matter is not finalized. As far as the Davis County Attorney's Office is concerned, there are significant developments we are not in a position to discuss due to the ongoing nature of this important case." It appears the county attorney wants this investigation to continue. No word whether police will do so. Now, as for Christensen, her parole is still under consideration. For the Justice Files, Marcus Ortiz, ABC4 News.
Time now for the Mountain West Minute and a snapshot of the stories making headlines across our region. In New Mexico, police are still investigating a crash which killed a police officer and one driver. Officers say they were chasing a suspect accused of kidnapping a woman and stealing her car on I-25 near Santa Fe when that suspect crashed into two police cars and another car not involved in the chase, killing the driver and an officer. Police say they are still searching for the suspect. In Colorado, community members coming together by holding a vigil for one of the 5 people found dead in a Commerce City apartment last month. Investigators suspect they used drugs that were unknowingly laced with fentanyl. The district attorney says every day they are getting overdose cases of people who are unknowingly taking fentanyl. In Arizona, check out this newly released body camera video of police rescuing an abandoned puppy. Officers say the dog was left in a pillowcase and thrown over a fence into a vacant lot. According to police, these officers happened to be carrying dog food with them, and they were able to give that puppy a much-needed snack. The dog is now at the Arizona Humane Society, where he is up for adoption.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Alana Brophy. Weather rate certified 10 years in a row.
All right, and open all those windows kind of day today.
Oh, it was just so perfect, Alana, but we know it's not going to last.
It was really, really pretty. It just gives us an idea of what's to come when we actually make it to spring. We're just several weeks off. Live look at St. George. Really pretty shot here from our Dixie Tech camera, where you can see the clouds that have filtered in that strong southerly flow. Also increasing the winds out there. Yeah, it was beautiful. Temperatures hit 71 in Salt Lake. We saw 50s and 60s along the Wasatch Front. 76 is where we topped out in St. George, usually this time of year. They're right around 64. Above average warmth, high pressure brought that in. That southerly flow brought that in. And now things are going to change. I've got a drought update for you because it's Thursday. We're going to take a look at that wet weather, the timeline of it, and the impacts it's going to bring for the next couple of days. And yes, cooler air is on the way. So if you love today, I know it's going to change, but you know it will come back. This is what it looked like up Mirror Lake Highway. Such a pretty shot. This area going to pick up some snow as that wet weather takes aim at the Beehive State. 67 in Salt Lake right now, turning into the 50s. Those mostly cloudy skies will stick around, so we're going to trap some milder conditions for the overnight. Temperatures staying above freezing, so mild start to the day tomorrow in comparison to what we have seen. Satellite radar shows that approaching system and the clouds moving from south to north with that southerly flow, increasing that mid and upper level moisture out there today. We definitely saw moderate air in Cache, Weber, Box Elder County, and on the eastern side of the state. But with those winds increasing, we've mixed out in a few locations, which is good news. Clean air in portions of the Wasatch Front. As far as that drought update goes, we know it's an issue, and so this wet weather is going to be welcome. Four Corners, West Desert, And over towards the Uintas, we have that extreme drought, up to 34% this week. We saw a minor increase even with those storms in central and southern Utah producing snow. All right, we'd like to see more progress, and that means we need a more active pattern. Okay, we have one of those. Here's a look at tomorrow's setup as an upper-level low will dig towards southern Utah and bring the potential for some rain to our valleys and some mountain snow, but it will be light and scattered. As we head into Saturday, though, things start to change because the Friday system moves out of the way. Then we get two more coming in, so active skies for the weekend with periods of precipitation. So the first round, Friday night into Saturday. Here's a look at how it kind of shapes up. This is midnight where it's really quiet. We get into Friday evening, and you can see spotty precip there, and we know that that low pressure system is going to continue to impact us because as we head into overnight Friday into Saturday, you could see some snow mixing in spots, but we're likely going to see rain in northern Utah. But then we get a bit of a break, but it doesn't stay because we get another shot of cold air. Okay, you can kind of see how we funnel in the potential for some snow. Best chance here Saturday night into Sunday in northern Utah. We are looking at accumulating snow possible. We just have to get cold enough air. If you don't see straight snow, you're looking at that sloppy mix. Cooler temperatures move in. We're going to drop 20 to 30 degrees. I know, not everyone's favorite. Okay, precipitation type kind of dances around for a little bit. Friday, it's staying up there, high benches and towards Park City. As we head into Saturday, it falls to the benches, but we really won't see it hit the valley floor Saturday night until Sunday morning, and that's when we're anticipating the chance for that snow. We drop in temperatures for tomorrow, 50s along the Wasatch Front, down 10 degrees at least, 60s in the Four Corners, 50s on the eastern side of the state, 60s in St. George, where they hit 76 today, so 16 degrees cooler. We know those fronts are on the move. Rain potential for the weekend. Temperatures tumbling to the 50s, below average for the next 7 days in Washington County. So I hope you enjoyed the beginning of this week. Here's the Wasatch Front. 50s turn to 40s and have it a day in the 30s. Yes, we have the potential for precipitation through Monday with snow showers lingering. Dry Tuesday, and then the chance maybe of another little system Wednesday night into Thursday. We stay below average temperature-wise as well, so we're going to drop into the 40s, and I hope you're ready for it. We expect that this time of year. Glenn, Emily, over to you.
Yep, we have been warned. Thanks, Lana. Appreciate it.
Doesn't mean we like it.
No.
Okay, but we do like this. Some good news for Coach Q.
He deserves it, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
After an awful, awful January, the Utah Jazz turned it around in the month of February. They went 8-1 in February, and because of that, Quinn Snyder was named the Western Conference Coach of the Month. It's the fourth time he's won this award during his career. The Jazz have stretched that streak to 9 wins in their last 10 games after beating the Houston Rockets on the road last night. Now, that game was a lot harder than it needed to be because the Jazz blew an 18-point lead, had to go into overtime to get the victory. They know they need to tighten things up if they hope to contend for an NBA title.
It's good to come out of this with a win, but we just got to find ways to not give up the 18-point lead. I really don't know how I'm supposed to say it. The main thing is for us when we're okay too. We're going to have a bit better awareness of that, better focus. And that's when we need to even raise our level.
There's not a lot of magic to what happened, but there's things that, you know, we need to know are going to happen to us, and we need to be able to handle them and do better.
Well, the finals are set in the girls' 6A basketball tournament in high school. The semifinals taking place this afternoon at the Huntsman Center. Westlake taking on Fremont in one game. Fremont with the ball. Mia Austin with the three-pointer. That's good. Westlake would counter, though. Jill Lundgren with a shot from beyond the arc. She knocks that one down. Then it's Kaylee Hedrick with the steal. She takes this one all the way. No one will catch her. She gets the layup, but Fremont pulled away. The pass to Tamia Gardner. She knocks this one down from distance straight away. And then the feed inside in the second half to Maggie Mendelson. And the Silver Wolves win it by 9, 49-40. They'll play for the state championship on Saturday. The other semifinal pitted undefeated Lone Peak taking on Harriman. Tight game in the second half. Lone Peak gets it to Kaylee Woolston in the corner, and she gets it to go. Harriman was trying to answer. Lexi Jensen finds some space. She knocks down the jumper. She had a great game. She led the Mustangs with 20 points. Johnny Nordstrom gets the steal for the Knights. Takes this one all the way for the layup. And Harriman, after the free throw, there's the steal right there. Goes in for the layup. But Harriman goes on. Got close, but Lone Peak goes on to win this one. They are now 21-0 after that 51-49 victory, so Lone Peak will play for the state championship. And Real Salt Lake has its home opener coming up on Saturday when they host Seattle. Albert Rusnak, no longer on RSL's team, but he will be here because he now plays for the Sounders.
Albert was a big part of our
our group last year, and it's not going to look the same without him.
Albert's a fantastic guy, fantastic player, obviously. I mean, this is something of the past, and, you know, we got to look forward to, you know, the guys that we have here.
It's a place where I've been for 5 years, so it's a familiar place for me. You know, I know all about the possibility of playing in a snow game and then the altitude and all those factors.
Rusnak may be on the other side on Saturday, but he still keeps in touch with his RSL buddies.
There is a couple of group chats that I'm in with a few guys, and we haven't spoken about it just yet, but yeah, there's a few guys on the team that I keep in, you know, touch on weekly basis and stuff.
No, I'm sure they're going to give him the needle going into this game coming up on Saturday.
That's always so awkward when you've been somewhere and then you go back. And
you know, you hear a lot of guys
weird.
who are used to going in the home locker room and they get back to the arena and they make the right turn and they go, oh, I got to go left and go to the smaller locker room.
Habits.
Weird.
All right, we'll be right back.
Backyard living season is right around the corner. Are you ready to soak it up? The warehouse liquidation sale is going on now. The Great Backyard. Hot tubs, ready for delivery. Patio furniture, priced to move. Swimming pools and grills, they're out of here. And the floor samples gotta go too. All that with interest-free financing. Get it for less. A whole lot less. At the warehouse liquidation sale. The Great Backyard, Green Springs exit off I-15 in the Albertson Center, St. George.
Community Nursing Services presents Art and Soup March 16th and 17th at the Salt Palace, featuring 46 Utah artists and 20 local restaurants. Tickets available at cns-cares.org/art-soup or at the door.
When you join Chartway, you become part of a circle of over 190,000 members strong. Together, we've built a credit union that we're proud of, and one that, like you, works hard in our communities. We offer convenient banking on your time and video, online, and mobile options for life on the go, with the support and the people to help you reach your life goals, so you have more time to celebrate. Join us and come around to brighter days.
Hey, Utah! America's greatest hot rod show is back. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Autorama. March 4th through 6th at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. See the country's greatest customs, hot rods, trucks, and Utah's lowrider showcase. Meet Danny the Count Coker and Kevin Mack from Count's Customs. And famed designer and builder Chip Foose from TV's Overhauling. Autorama. March 4th through 6th. Discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Part of the Summit Racing Equipment Show Car Series. See Autorama.com for more info.
How to change the way you pizza. Step 1, grab a delicious Papa Murphy's pizza. Step 2, bake. Step 3, chow down on the deliciousness. Order the fan favorite cowboy pizza right now at papamurphys.com.
Home is a feeling, but your house cultivates it. It's where warmth is as much the temperature as it is a sensation. With energy-efficient appliances, you feel more comfortable, which gives you freedom to be. Appliances like a dual-fuel heating system conserve a different kind of energy, and a tankless natural gas water heater saves you money for the things that matter most. Plus, the Dominion Energy ThermWise program offers rebates to support your haven.
Go, 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 go UTA. UTA is going your way today.
Finally at 6, a little tune to get stuck in your head tonight.
It's
We're
there.
throwing it back to a Utah Transit Authority ad from the 80s to celebrate UTA's 52nd birthday.
As part of the celebration, UTA is highlighting how they've grown over the past 50 years and are challenging riders to post some special effects they've made and say each time you use them to tag UTA, you'll be entered to win some limited edition anniversary swag, which we all need that.
They've definitely grown just a little from the 80s, right?
Yep, front runner, tracks, a lot of
All
good
of that.
stuff.
So that jazzy jingle, thou's timeless.
Yes, it is.
It's something.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll hope to see you back here at 10.
The latest projections say the Social Security Trust Fund could run out of money in just over 10 years. How could this impact you and your retirement? Here to talk about it is Tyson Thacker and Ryan Thacker from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 3-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. And really, Tyson, if you are going to retire soon, this isn't good news at all.
Nisha, it really isn't good news. And when the pandemic hit, millions of people were either fired, furloughed, or retired early. So there were a lot less people contributing to Social Security, Plus, the government spent trillions of dollars in economic stimulus and infrastructure updates, which increased our national debt. So this had a huge impact on Social Security, which was already underfunded. And now, as you mentioned, Nisha, it's estimated to run out of money by 2034.
So, Ryan, what does this mean if you are hoping to retire in the next few years?
Well, if you rely on Social Security to help fund your retirement now, or if you plan to retire in the next several years, your benefits could be slashed significantly. And this could cause you to sacrifice your lifestyle in retirement, and no one wants that.
So you two are in the know. Tyson, what's the best advice then you can give our viewers about Social Security right now?
Well, there are two things, Nisha. One, your strategy is to file your Social Security is even more important than it's ever been before. And it's a lot more complicated than simply filing your benefits early or late. Two, consider creating some type of Social Security insurance that would pay you every month for the rest of your life, just like Social Security does today.
But Ryan, how can our viewers be sure that they are getting the benefits that are rightfully theirs?
Good question. The first priority is always to get the most amount of income possible from Social Security. So that's why we've put together something just for the viewers today. We'll show you how you could get even more income when you file for Social Security with a free, customized Social Security analysis. This free analysis will show you the optimal time to get the most income possible, plus how you could reduce or eliminate paying taxes on up to 85% of your benefits, how you could avoid triggering higher Medicare premiums, plus if you're eligible for any other benefits that you may not even know exist. And many times you'll pay hundreds of dollars for this analysis, but Nisha, we're gonna do it for free just for the viewers that are watching today.
That's the word we wanted to hear. That's so great. Thank you so much. Learn, everybody, how you could get even more income when you file for Social Security with this free Social Security benefits analysis. If you've saved at least $200,000 for retirement and you have not filed for Social Security, call to schedule that free analysis now. The number is 801-829-9797. This offer only available if you call tonight. That number again, 801-829-9797. Call right now. Thank you, gentlemen.
They're here. The city taken over by Russian troops as brave Ukrainians go underground, seeking sanctuary from the relentless bombing. What the hell was that? The factory churning out spike strips to stop the Russian tanks and chaos in Russia. Mass resignation at a Russian station and the Putin defense.
He's just said he's going to launch nuclear thermal war against the world.
Will it get him out of his speeding ticket?
As Max from Dancing with the Stars comes home, then doubling down. What she's saying after heckling President Biden.
I would absolutely do it again.
And can you believe this is downtown in a major American city? She says she's had enough. She's closing her bakery. Then all come down. The demolition of the $100 million mansion no one has ever moved in. Plus, the sanitation worker who shoots like Steph Curry. And down goes Joy. Now, Inside Edition with Deborah Norville.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. The fighting continues in Ukraine, where some cities Russian shelling has gone on for nonstop 24 hours. For the first time, we're seeing tanks roll into Kherson, the first city seized by the Russians. And thousands of Ukrainians are seeking shelter underground in metro stations, where conditions are grim and food is running low. Stephen Fabian now with the latest.
It's the first major city in Ukraine to fall to the